Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. It gets crazier and crazier. I think that there are times as a Chelsea fan where we genuinely believe it can't get any more mad than this. Can it? Can it? That intonation rise at the end followed by a question mark is 110% necessary. Today we're going to talk about the Miguel Delaney reports from The Independent. Chelsea are considering a discussion with Antonio Conte over their head coach vacancy. Todd, Boehly and Behdad Eghbali are at least curious to see what the Italian can bring. They see him as a winner. This, to me, there are certain elements of this point that are non-negotiables. Conte is a winner. However, since he left Chelsea, we have seen his brand of football diminish into a very outdated brand of football. However, Antonio Conte as a manager. We have seen, even in the past year, him fighting with a man that we fell in love with, Thomas Tuchel, on the sidelines as manager of Spurs. I feel as though we've all got to slow down a little bit here because some of the crossovers in how these stories and narratives have played out just blow my flipping mind, to be quite honest. And I think what we're seeing with this appointment of Frank Lampard as interim head coach, when we hear that Boehly and Eghbali are absolutely obsessed with exhausting the process to ensure that they employ the right man, to rule out Antonio Conte, and I'm also going to bring up Jose Mourinho and Ancelotti in this video today. Three former Chelsea managers who have all won us the Premier League, who have all won trophies in other countries, are considered amongst the majority in football as elite level coaches. I think the approach right now from Chelsea to not just have a Julian Nagelsmann, who is a young manager who has won things, but only at Bayern Munich in Germany, where it's pretty much illegal not to win things, and Luis Enrique, who arguably had one of the greatest football teams ever at Barcelona, to simply go and make the same mistakes that Chelsea made when firing Thomas Tuchel within 24 hours, basically hiring Graham Potter. This will go down as a cataclysmic error from the Chelsea board. And I think if ever there was a welcome to life in the craziest sport, in the craziest league in the world, that is the wake-up call that Todd Boehly and Behdad Eghbali have needed to know that they spent all of that money on Graham Potter, and to swallow that pill and eat that slice of humble pie and admit that you were wrong takes a lot. And I think what we can see from this appointment, first of all, before we talk a bit more about Conte, this appointment of Frank Lampard, whether you like Frank Lampard as a Chelsea manager or not, I can understand why people would think this is ridiculous. But at the same time, you can also sit here in 8 months' time and say that it was ridiculous that Chelsea spent 2 days hiring a new manager and then seeing the same results. To give the club 2 months, I do think that there is a strong possibility that if Chelsea can get paperwork done and to make that decision, as soon as we know that decision, Lampard might be gone. I think Lampard is probably signing this deal with Chelsea knowing that it might not even be 2 months. I don't think he's signing it also thinking that if I win the Champions League here, I might get my second stint as Chelsea manager permanently now. That is not going to happen. The only way I could potentially see that happening is if Chelsea genuinely win every match between now and the end of the season, which also includes the Champions League, and Frank Lampard starts making us play the most exciting, incredible, beautiful brand of football in the history of time, and then Todd Boehly, American owner, is just blown away by the entertainment value of what Chelsea Football Club has become. I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's maybe a 2% chance that Frank Lampard takes this job on a permanent basis. So, in the process of all of that, and the acceptance and understanding of all of that, it's okay to still think that Lampard isn't the right man, but come on, we have spent 8 months of this season stressed out, struggling of just how bad and horrible it was. So, for the next 2 months, let's just at least enjoy the vibes. And I'm going to be releasing a video which is the ultimate GBFC vibes. It's either gone before this. Kat, what do you want? What do you think about Frank Lampard? You don't care, do you? You only want me out when you're not around. So Antonio Conte to return as potential Chelsea manager. If I'm being realistic here, I don't want to clickbait anything and say it's happening, because I do think that the reason Chelsea have done the Lampard appointment is because There are just a few things left that need to be dotted and crossed for the likes of a Nagelsmann, for the sale, I guess you could say, pitch that Luis Enrique has done as to why he'd be the best option at Chelsea. It is saving face in a PR manner for Behdad, Eghbali and Todd Boehly to decide that, okay, right now, let's just get someone at the helm at Chelsea who is universally loved by proper Chelsea fans. If you don't like Frank Lampard and you say you support Chelsea, get out right now. I'm just saying it straight up. You can think he's not the right manager, but to dislike the bloke is absolute lunacy, in my opinion, if you're a Chelsea fan. What we saw from Antonio Conte at Spurs could have been foreshadowed by any person in football who has any idea about anything. It was never going to work. And the reason it was never going to work is, and again, this sees me segue here into thinking that possibly Conte could be a good option. At Tottenham, you're backed, but you're backed by the people that Levy wants. You are backed, and then as soon as things go a bit south, he freaks out and then doesn't want to spend the right money on the right players to fix it. Antonio Conte is a man who is very set in his ways and mannerisms as a coach. He's very assured of what he thinks is the correct footballing philosophy. And my concern behind this is, I really do think Antonio Conte's methods have been found out in the Premier League. I think they are very much the kind of methods where, yes, you will come in and ruffle a few feathers, shake a few bags, I don't know, and disrupt things, which is what we did. We won the league in 2017 because we came in and had Marcus Alonso and Victor Moses as wingbacks, and no one expected it to happen. We won the league because we managed to find the correct players that we already had to fit into a system with a manager, and the Premier League wasn't ready for it. Now, the Premier League have got juggernauts. The Premier League have got tried and tested powerhouses. Mikel Arteta has had a project at Arsenal, and now they're seeing the fruits. Pep Guardiola, the probably one of the most successful projects in Premier League history at Manchester City. Klopp might be gone in a minute. Why don't we go for Klopp instead of Conte? I think that is a bit more of a progressive Chelsea decision. However, there's absolutely no denying, if we bring it back to the vibes, Antonio Conte 2017 season was one of the most, probably my favourite Premier League season ever. It was a joy to watch us. It was electric. It was excitement. It was passion. It was everything we want. And I think what we can look into this is that Conte's probably not going to become the new Chelsea manager on a permanent basis. But come on, we've got to give credit to the owners here. Instead of saying we shouldn't be employing Lampard, that's not giving us the best chance to beat Real Madrid, they want to give themselves the best chance for the long term. Once again, sticking to what they have said. Project manager, long-term sustainable build. They're still doing everything they said they were going to do. So to go at the owners here for employing Lampard, I think is crazy, in my opinion. Do what you want, but that's just my thoughts. And I think Antonio Conte, it just wouldn't work. I think it's a nice idea again, but for me, it won't work. Mourinho, I actually think is far more measured and malleable, if we're comparing him to a piece of flipping metal, to change things than Antonio Conte. I think the reason I've backed Chelsea going for Mourinho potentially as a manager, yes, there is so much element of nostalgia to it. I'm not even going to try and run away from that. There is sentiment behind my reasoning here, 100%. But I do think Mourinho is still a quality manager. I think he's doing a good job at Roma in a difficult league, not as good as the Premier League. And he did an amazing job at Man United with that team that they had. And at Spurs, you are destined to fail as soon as you take that job because of the way that club is ran. It's a joke. And any good quality world-class manager will fail there because they are not at the level that they want people to perceive them as. Tottenham Hotspur, they're just not. I keep saying it and people think I'm sarcastic, but it's facts. It's true. How does every manager go there and fail? Come on. Jose Mourinho, I think, is a better choice than Antonio Conte. Carlo Ancelotti is a bit of a pipe dream, if I'm honest. There is talks at the moment that he might be considering his future at Real Madrid. Brazil are desperate to get him as the head coach. And I think with what Carlo Ancelotti has done during his time within club football, with that Brazil team now, the next couple of World Cups, super exciting. There might be a chance for him to win a World Cup. And I think for Ancelotti, maybe that could be more appealing. He came back to the Premier League with Everton. That didn't really work out, but Ancelotti at Everton, really, look at that football club. They're also a joke and deserve better. Good fans. But Carlo Ancelotti back, I think, is probably more possible, maybe even than Conte or Mourinho. But at the same time, I don't think it will happen. I think it would be amazing if Ancelotti came back. Mourinho, I don't think the Chelsea owners will go for Jose Mourinho. And with Conte, if they're going to consider him, then we've got to consider that they're going to consider all three of the managers I've spoken about here. This is nuts. It's absolutely freaking nuts what is going on at our football club right now. But Super Frank is in charge until the end of the season, or until Chelsea do agree contract terms and everything with the manager that they want. Keep an eye on that one as well. But yeah, this has been an absolutely nuts few days. Check the link in the description for all of the recent content if you want to keep diving more into my thoughts on what is going on here. But yeah, Conte, I don't think it will happen. I kind of get sentimentally excited, but I don't think it's the right one. Mourinho, please, Ancelotti, please, argue it out in the comments if you wish. That's just my thoughts. Come on, you Blues.